I guess this is going to be the theme for today. I mean, why else would this shot exist if it weren't? Anyway, here's the intro.
Life's tough.
When you're in a PC,
Life's rough.
when you depend on me,
To give you weapons, I use armor information for your journey and still you still shit and try to hurt me. Life's tough.
when you're in a PC,
Life's rough.
when you
Okay, Mad Max is a little misleading. There is some Mad Max in there, but it's not the whole thing. But all things considered, there are really cool cars. It does take place in the Atomic Highway. There was some nuclear fallout. And also, I really wanted to show off my poster. It counts. So yes, there is Mad Max sort of themes in here, but there's also themes like Fallout and movies like Snowpiercer and The Colony as well. As far as role-playing games are concerned, the Apocalypse is always going to be a safe choice when it comes to creating your own role-playing game. There is just so much cool you can do with it. Let's be honest here, no matter what route you go, you will at least come up with something that is mildly interesting. Granted, for the time being though, it might be best to stay away from zombie apocalypse sort of scenarios, mainly because that thing has been so played out at this point, to the point where it's reaching unintentional self-parody. But even then, apocalypse, it's still cool! The subject of today's episode is one of the apocalypses that sometimes gets overlooked or is seldom used, and that is the nuclear winter arc. This is Colin Chapman's Atomic Highway. You all don't know this one, but this game has been slated for me to review for months now. This thing has gone all the way back to like episodes 3 and 4 when I was thinking about doing this, and each time it keeps getting pushed back and pushed back. Well now, no matter what, we're here to talk about it today, and this game is gold. Atomic Highway is a wonderful blend of all the post-apocalypse worlds that do not involve zombies. The planet has been destructed by the lunacy of human warmongering, the remnants of humanity trying to survive in a bleak and horrible world, and playing a character who has to brave this world as well as the Ravagers in the wild. Also, it is in the winter, one of the most undervalued apocalypse settings. Yeah, things like Fallout are fun and all, but it always seems that winter is that extra fuck you from Mother Nature. It's always that one where, no matter what, you could possibly also die of nuclear radiation, Ravagers, as well as just freezing your balls off. The mythos is your pretty standard affair. The world has been reduced from billions of humans to millions after a nuclear disaster and ensuing winter holocaust has claimed countless lives around the world. With society attempting to rebuild itself, makeshift trade towns and small kingdoms grow from the snow-covered ashes of the former world. This is some of the most fun that I think anybody can have with apocalypse settings, is especially seeing how the world rebuilds itself. I think one of the biggest things about The Walking Dead was seeing how society is built up from the foundation after everything is destroyed, and seeing what you do with the remnants of what once was. It's the same here for Atomic Highway. It's really fascinating to explore the mythos that Colin Chapman has created, and seeing all these different towns and how they grow, and what politics they use, which, me being a person who's going for his political science PhD, is a shit ton of fun. So, it really also does help that this is a very diverse world that you could really dig into, especially whenever you start thinking past the text itself. This game does come with a slight complaint of mine whenever we're talking about post-apocalypse worlds, and that's the idea of feral people. The game itself is split into different towns and epicenters, with Ravagers traveling through the unclaimed zone, wreaking havoc on would-be travelers. Pretty cool shit. There are even Trogs, people who decided to move underground and have since evolved over time. That is also cool. But man, do I hate the concept of ferals. I think this is just me, but I always found the idea of people reverting back to the tribal style, or in the case of this photo, reverting to a Native American style society strange. From the feral point of view, it always seemed odd that people would just stop caring about their past to the point where they just let their offspring not even learn language and just run amok around the world. When it came to the Native American setting, Why would you always go back to the style of living in the nuclear winter apocalypse, complete with culturally questionable teepees? Teepees does not seem like the best scenario for a nuclear winter. Yes, I'm sure that Native Americans back in the time had very good warm teepees, but this is like negative 40 degrees Fahrenheit we're talking about here. I don't know how well those are going to hold up over time compared to some more structurally sound material. I don't know. It just seems like an odd way to fit a square peg through a round hole. But then again, maybe I'm just a guy that complains about the little things, the minor things that nobody else really cares about. But if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have this show, so what are you going to do? Not only is the setting of this game cool, its gameplay is also top-notch. That seems to take cues from other role-playing games, intentional or otherwise, such as Thieves World and World of Darkness, which also just happen to be two of my favorite games/gaming series. Atomic Highway, you're trying to seduce me, you saucy little minx. Not only do Trogs bear a similar evolutionary resemblance to Thieves World Basib in the way that they were two communities that evolved from human society based on the realms that they lived in, the gaming system is also similar to World of Darkness. At least slightly. Atomic Highway is a D6 system, but it ranks things from 1 to 5, and how many dots you have in that scalar ability is how many dice you get to roll. So let's say that you had 3 in firearms, that means you would roll 3d6. And if you get a 6, then you succeed. 6s also explode in this gaming system, where if you roll a 6, naturally, you can roll again for another 6. If you get that 6, you can roll again until you stop going down the line. Sure, the connections are more cosmetic as opposed to thematic, as Rick Sanchez would gladly point out to me. But the connections is enough to make an easy pickup for anyone who is a fan of the World of Darkness line. Mix this in with the fact that character creation is a breeze and easy to fit onto a single piece of notebook paper means it is a quick and engaging form of character creation that really focuses on a great blend of the crunch of the numbers as well as the fluff to get you immersed into the system as well as getting ready to play. Granted, the gameplay can get a little boring at times, as most D6 systems tend to do. But really, that could be overlooked for the fact that the mythos is fantastic, and the gameplay itself, especially the character creation being very quick and getting people out there and playing, is also excellent. What more is there to say, really? There are minor flaws in this game, but that is exactly what they are. They're minor. The mythos is something that can be engaging for just about anyone. The gameplay is fun and easy to understand, and you already have the tools to play as long as you have a decent number of board games with a D6 inside of them. It is what every RPG really strives to be: cohesive, engaging, as well as parsimonious. This game is definitely a crit. It is amazing. Every time that I read this book, I think of a whole different universe I can create, a world, all the characters I could create, different towns. There is just endless possibilities. I highly recommend this game. I suggest you find it as soon as possible.
Life's tough.
When you're in PC.
Life's rough.
When you depend on me.
To give you
weapons
everything.
items on